What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sistas. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, we're talking Season 2, Episode 15, entitled A Tough Decision, which aired last night, February the 10th. Danny tries to help Preston after his life is threatened. Fatima is ready to pursue a relationship. Karen and acts revenge upon Zach. 7.5 out of 10. Hear me out. It wasn't a bad episode. It was just, I think what did it was, if you saw me on Twitter last night, then you saw that I put out a tweet that due to the fact that my area is allegedly, and I use the word allegedly because Lynchburg weather is hard to predict, we're supposed to get a lot of snow starting tonight. And I went out to get a few items and I'm pretty much stocked up just in case of a snowed in situation. It's supposed to snow tonight / Friday, tomorrow, Saturday. Then it's supposed to start again Tuesday. Next week's supposed to be spotty. So I figured, you know what? Yeah, let me go out, do what I got to do. And I went to the Facebook group, and also kudos to the Facebook. I never thought any of my Facebook groups would blow up the way they did, but the Sisters group is almost at 80,000 members. It's amazing. But in any case, I had to go through and, approve over 300 posts last night alone. I'm like, damn, it must have been one hell of an episode. And a large majority of the posts either had to do with two things. Well, technically three, but number one, obviously the shower scene between Fatima and Zach. Second place was Karen, because when I tell you there were no kind words about Karen last night. And then number three was about, people just in love with Preston and how Danny better not mess this one up. And only a sprinkle of Andy, but to be fair, Andy wasn't really in this episode. But she was in the episode, but she wasn't in the episode, if you get what I'm saying. But there were some people who said the episode was a bit slow in places. But it wasn't a bad episode. Definitely set up because, if I'm not mistaken, season 2 is 22 episodes. So it's hard to believe, but we're almost done with season 2. Yeah, it's 22 episodes. Next week is 16. So 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. We got 7 episodes left, and then that's it. But season 3 is being filmed right now. So let me just say, this was an interesting episode full of tidbits for what's happening next. So I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it was a mind-blowing episode. But here we go. Before moving forward, make sure you hit that like button. Let's try to get to 100 likes on the video. Make sure you hit subscribe so we can hit 200,000 subscribers. Click the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below, especially the Sisters Facebook group. Let's try to hit 80,000 members because, my gosh. All right, so the episode picks up where we left off. Danny finds a beaten up Preston at her door, brings him in, and helps him on the couch. And pretty much his brothers were the ones who beat him up, and they just don't want those two to be together. Preston doesn't care at all, but Danny's like, hey, this is fun. Maybe we should end it, because Danny's like, hey, what we've had is fun. I like it, but at the same time, I don't want to see you hurt over us. But he doesn't care. He wants to be with her. Wow. He denies it being a bet, saying that they just said anything to make her mad. There wasn't a bet or anything between us in regards to who can score a black chick. It wasn't like that. You met my sister before. Just like me, we're both open-minded. And it turns out those brothers are actually his half-brothers. Interesting. So then we go over to Calvin and Maurice. Brief scene here, but basically Maurice isn't happy about Calvin moving a couple things around in the apartment. Basically, he likes to watch other apartments as opposed to watching TV. And, Calvin's getting dressed up for a date he has, he met online. And, well, since Sabrina isn't committing, he's trying to move on. And obviously, he's still a bit concerned / jealous about the guy at the bank. But basically, she wants more rugged than him, and he just goes out. I mean, it was funny because Maurice said the same thing. You could just leave each other alone, and I'm tired of hearing it. Hence why I like Maurice, because he's speaking for the audience. I don't hate the characters of Calvin and Sabrina, but their storyline is a bit stale at this point. It's like Sabrina is obviously the immature one or insecure one of the duo, so just move on. We go over to Andy's place, which is full of flowers, and there's a note. Holy crap. Okay, oh, damn it. I actually took a screenshot of the note, but I don't have it up in front of me. But if you don't mind the sound of clicking, I will try to pull it up. Bear with me. I know that 1,000,000 flowers couldn't make up for what I've done to you, but I'm sorry. I love you, and you are in my heart. I know you don't want to reach out, but if you do, just know I would love to prove to you how sorry I really am. Oh, there we go. Wasn't too bad. Basically the same stuff we've heard from him every time before he acts like an asshole again. But she calls, and at first, now, Lord, please don't tell me she's calling Gary, but Andy actually surprised me. She called, I believe, like the doorman, or basically she called the manager or the office at the complex to say, hey, I'm not expecting deliveries. Can the doorman come and get these flowers? And I'm like, go on now. Then she calls Karen, takes a picture of the flowers to let them know what's going on. And it's like, hey, I know these are from him, but I'm not going to reach out. It's just like, oh, I'm sorry. And then Karen's like, oh, yeah, don't reach out to him, girl. And I do get the scene was a bit quick. This was one of those times where I felt like that sweet reassurance that Sabrina and Karen always give Andy was actually needed. Because I know it sounds like a bit harsh to say, well, Jeremy, Andy doesn't need a pat on the back. She should have been done this with Gary. I agree, but given that Andy is still in the hurting phase and she's trying to move on, I think a pat on the back would have been good in this moment, just to say, Andy, that's good. Because Karen was a bit short, like, yeah, don't mess with him, don't call him, that's it, don't worry about it. I just felt like in that moment, Andy really could have used a good for you, girl. That's what I'm talking about, one step at a time. Not saying Karen is bad. I just feel like that's how the scene was written, because obviously a few seconds later, there was a knock on the door and there was a doorman. And I like how Karen was like, who's at the door? Oh, it's not, you want me to video chat just to make sure? Yeah, I like that, because Karen made sure she had her girls back. So I really do feel like that was the only thing missing from this moment, but it was still good. So we find out the doorman, Nicholas Phelps, and then Andy was like, oh, because I'm not going to lie. I thought this was going to be like a Michael Phelps reference. Like, you're related to, I want to be real. That's what I thought. But Phelps is the name of the guy who actually owns this building, as well as many others. Nicholas is still in school. So obviously, his dad's rich, not him. So he's still working. And apparently there's a lot of complex, in regards to the building. There's gossip going around about the relationships that Andy has with, married men. And turns out Jasmine was standing outside the complex handing out flyers, which I do believe she also did at the police station. Remember when Andy went to see Gary back in season 1, and that one guard, like, I think tried to flirt with Andy or ask for her number, and Jasmine, she got around with those flyers. I thought that was hilarious. So there's also like an older married man upstairs who flirts with all the women around the building as well. So some people were like, Nick and Andy? No, I don't think so. I thought they had a cute little moment, but I don't think there's anything to write home about. So, yeah. After that, let's see. We get Zach and Fatima. I don't really need to talk about the shower scene because everybody and their mother has. Will I do a video on it? Most likely, because I'm pretty sure it'll get a lot of views. But Zach comes in, needs a shower. He had a long day of work. He's just thankful about Fatima and how she treats him. And when he even tries to bring up, Karen, like, no, this is a no X zone. She doesn't want to get her hair wet, but that doesn't stop her from getting in that shower. Let me just say this much. In my new house, there are two bathrooms. One has a, bath tub, and then the other one has a standing shower. Scenes like this make me glad that I'm so glad I got a standing shower. Okay. Anyway, so we go over to Aaron and Karen. I just love how you got Zach and Fatima, who, for the most part, seem to be on the same wavelength. But now you got Aaron and Karen where it's like they aren't. A lot of people are suspicious of Aaron. It's like, okay, wait. So 1 minute in the hotel, he's just plowing Karen. I hate to use that kind of terminology, but that's the best way to describe it. But here, he's really, quote unquote, preaching about being celibate, not having sex until marriage, and she doesn't know she can hold out. So that's some interesting stuff. I mean, it's the fact that problems with the ex, I think Aaron brought up a good point. A lot of people don't want to talk about their exes, but sometimes it is important to bring that stuff up to avoid similar mistakes. Like, what if he was the problem? What if you were the problem? Are there any triggers or red flags that you look out for? Have I done anything to remind you of your ex unintentionally and you've lashed out at me? Good point. But she's basically struggling with the celibacy thing. And like, he's trying to, okay, well, if it's a problem, then I'll leave. Like, no, I don't want you to go home. And I feel like the easiest way to sum up the conversation is late night combo. When it's like 10 p.m., 2 a.m. and you're texting somebody and it gets really personal, late night conversations. I think he even says like, oh, so how old were you when you lost your virginity? Let me go get some wine. So then we go over to Danny and Preston again. And, she's helping to patch him up. And long story short, he can't go back to, his family. So she offers to allow him to stay with her. He's like, no, I got some money. Let me go get a hotel. And she's like, no, stay with me. And it's like, fine. Okay, what about Zach? Like, you mentioned Zach more than I do. But, well, Zach has this thing with Fatima. So I don't think he'll be over there often. And also, he also says, so it's just me and you and maybe Zach. What about the butt liquor? Enough said. That was a hilarious scene. All right, then we go over to Aaron and Karen in bed. I think this is the next morning at this point. And she's like, okay, this is rough for me. It's like to have you laying in the bed, but I can't do anything with you. And he brings up again the fact that he's waiting until marriage for sex. He wants to have it right. And says that Karen, and one reason he wants to take it slow is because Karen keeps saying Zach's name in her sleep. So once again, still in love with him. So she mentions like, well, yeah, I mean, everything is going on with him, especially after what he did to my credit card. He goes, exactly. And he gets up to leave. Is this, again, this is Tyler Perry writing, so you really need to pay attention to everything. Was this a nod to the fact he did it? Also, the fact that he's talking about celibacy despite earlier this season just ready to go in on Karen instantly. It makes you wonder, is he playing the nice guy routine as a long game thing? Because maybe he does this where he plays the long game. I know that's like a reference to the haves and the have-nots, but the long game in regards to sweeping a woman off her feet, giving her foot rubs. Because remember, that's what happened on the first date. And then basically giving them a taste of what it's like to be in bed with him. But then decides, wait, I need to wait, religious reasons. And strings these women along. And during this time, cons them of their money, credit card, and then bounces. Do you think that's a possibility? I'm just saying. So they get up and leave to go to work. All right, so Fatima calls Karen to do her hair because, it got messed up in the shower last night, which begs the question, wait, I don't know if this is a common thing, but maybe they exchange information at the girls' night, but I don't know. So it's 7:30 in the morning. She wakes up Zach, and they both get ready for their day. Karen is at the police station filling out a warrant for Zach's arrest. So Sabrina gets up to get ready for work. She didn't get any calls or texts from Calvin. And she calls Danny, and, she's petting, rubbing on Preston's, like, arm or head while he's laying down. And she ain't got time for this nonsense. So Sabrina checks his page, disappointed, and leaves for work. I mean, I'm not going to sit up here and judge, because I feel like we've all been in situations like that where I guess this is why they say women, like, get mad if you don't call or text first, because, man, we can't read your mind, women. It's like, again, maybe I'm in the minority here, but I'm of the thought process of, if you want to talk with somebody, just hit them up. I mean, regardless if you're the guy, girl, well, you know, it's, I don't want to sound so, what's the politically correct? Well, basically, the general norm is like the guy pursues, like, oh, the man has to approach the woman or call her or text her first. I think that's asinine. I feel like if you are interested, then message. I mean, sure, maybe it goes unseen or maybe it's left on red, but at the same time, you never know unless you try. Because I feel like playing these games, ain't nobody got time for that bull crap. And unfortunately, we get to the final scene, which had a lot of people cursing and calling Karen everything. Look, that Facebook group, y'all went in on Karen last night. Zach gets pulled over, license, registration, and he's taken out of the vehicle for his arrest. So that's the end of the episode. So yeah, this was an interesting kind of like setup episode. I didn't think it was bad at all. I just didn't think it was, oh my God. I mean, most people talk about the shower scene. There you go. So 7.5 out of 10. What did you think of the episode? Did I cover everything thoroughly? Let me know in the comments section below. What were some of your favorite moments? I just love little tidbits like, oh, those are Preston's half brothers, and you know, just little things like that. Not to mention the Jasmine nod, or you know, the mention of her handing out flyers about Andy's trifling behind. So yeah, oh yeah, that's right, because Fatima mentioned how people at work look at Andy. Now Andy gets certain looks at her own apartment complex. So, sheesh. All right, guys. Well, make sure you like and subscribe, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video. And if you would like to donate to the channel, feel free to do so on PayPal, Cash App, or join Patreon for as little as $1 a month.